Happy Monday, everyone. It's time for Monday Morning Manifestation, and I'm your coach, Elizabeth Pearson. I'm here. I've got my Starbucks ready to go, and today we're going to tackle resistance. So many of you have probably heard about resistance, right? And it's not just something that is an anti-Trump movement at the moment, but it's actually this very real diabolical force that presents itself anytime we are right on the cusp of having a breakthrough or trying to grow spiritually, emotionally. Basically, this thing shows up anytime you're trying to advance in your career, anytime you're trying to start a new diet and exercise regimen, anytime you're really focused on a long-term goal, something that doesn't immediately give you satisfaction, something that you need to work towards. Resistance is the equal and opposite opposing force to this growth, right? So if you think about it, when you're trying to grow, you're trying to ascend, right, to another level. That could be spiritually, again, in your career. Maybe you're just trying to reach another level in your relationship, right? Anything where you're trying to better yourself, there's going to be resistance, and it's going to show up, and it's really going to try to stop you in your tracks. It's going to try to keep you in the exact same spot that you're currently in, even if that's a place of despair and suffering. Maybe you're not at that level yet. Maybe you're just slightly uncomfortable and you're kind of thinking about doing something else. Resistance is going to show up and say, no, who do you think you are? You're not good enough to do any of that. You're not smart enough. You're not pretty enough. You're not cool enough. Nobody really likes you. It's going to fill your head with all of these lies.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
And I was first introduced to this concept of resistance on an Oprah Super Soul Sunday, where, I mean, everything good comes from, right? And I started reading this author, and you saw it in the post on my Instagram feed yesterday. This author, Steven Pressfield, has a couple of these books. He also has The War of Art, which is an amazing read. And I feel like it comes off as it's tailored towards writers or entrepreneurs or creative types. But the subject of resistance applies to every single person in every single walk of life, every single industry. And he magically defines it and tells you how to kill it so that you can keep progressing in your life and you can really ascend to that next level. So I thought it was really important to talk about it today because it hits us on a daily basis. And the thing is that it's not just a negative little voice in your head. This is something that's really trying to kill you. This is life or death. I mean, because if you think about it in the means of like a big picture of your life, if you're trying to make a change for the better for your life, and resistance comes and stops you in your tracks and you don't do it. Maybe you don't start exercising. Maybe you don't go for that promotion at work. Maybe you don't really communicate with your spouse or your partner what your true needs are. Then that's something that might not kill you immediately, but over time, it's going to slowly suffocate your soul to the point where you become unhappy. Maybe you start taking on some self-sabotaging behaviors. Maybe you form some addictions, some unhealthy habits. So it's really important to understand what resistance is so you can expect when it's going to show up. And when it does show up, you'll know how to work against it and push through it. So an example that Steven uses in his book is the idea of the marathon runner, right? I'm not sure, maybe some of you have run a marathon. I never have, but I think it still applies to everybody, right? Around the 22, 23 mile mark is when they say marathon runners hit a wall, right? The proverbial wall. And their glucose levels fall out and basically they can't go on and their body is physically shutting down. Well, this is kind of what resistance is in your life. But some marathon runners know about the wall, they prepare for it. They pack one of those little gel things, right, where they take a hit of sugar and they can go and they can finish the race. So this is really a metaphor for all of our lives. Anytime you're trying to break out of whatever space that you're in and better yourself, resistance is going to come So if we know that resistance is going to come, we can plan for it, and we can find ways to really preach truth back into our head instead of listening to that voice that says, you're an idiot. Why are you even trying this, right? You're never going to lose that weight, or you're never going to get that job, or stay in your lane. You picked your life, you picked your spouse, you picked everything, and you don't have any more choices. You don't have any more options. That's bullshit. And I'm here to tell you that I've had many duels with resistance, and many times it's left me curled up and crying right in that corner behind me. Starting a new business and walking away from my sales career was really scary. And picking up and moving to California, a state that I'd only been to visit even just a couple of times, and leaving everything that I knew in the Midwest was really scary. And this bitch resistance hit me hard and said, all day, throughout the day, there were constantly these thoughts going through of, what are you doing? Go back and just go back into stay in your lane, go back to your job in sales. You're never going to be able to do this. Nobody's ever going to care what you have to say. You're not an expert on anything. It was all this smack talk. And I started acknowledging when resistance came up and labeling it as that. And then I would tell myself the truth. So this could be in your life where you say, maybe let's just use exercise, right? Because that's an easy one. Everybody's probably struggled with starting, trying to be healthy. You can start and then you'll say, well, I'm never gonna keep that weight off, or I'm never gonna lose that weight. But the truth is that you absolutely can. And there's a fair amount of people who do start really healthy exercise regimens and they do keep the weight off. And you've probably already started to make small choices in your life or whatever you're eating that is already putting you on the path to success. So don't quit on yourself before you even really started. That's something that my husband said to me when I was starting to do the coaching and wanting to talk to you guys on Instagram and everything. So my advice to you is, every time that bitch starts coming in your head and telling you all the reasons why it's not going to work, sit down and really look at the situation you're in and speak a truth into that. Think of all the past accomplishments you've had in your life, because I'm sure you've had a ton, and I'm sure nothing has ever been super easy that was worth anything in the long run, whether it be relationships, spiritual growth, personal growth, right? Just looking and really getting authentic with yourself. So my Monday tip to you is, recognize resistance when it's coming, plan for it, and when it shows up, acknowledge it, and then kick its ass out of the room. Because you're amazing, there's greatness in all of you, and there's no room for resistance or that voice in your head. And the only way that you're going to be able to reach your true potential and see your greatness is if you ignore that bitch. All right? So that is the wisdom for Monday. Everybody, I hope you have a fantastic week. And just remember that every week, every Monday, there will be a new tip. And feel free to send me a comment or a message on any topics you'd like to talk about next week. Thanks so much. And cheers to starting to love Mondays.